The year was 2162, and Earth was a fractured mosaic of flickering lights and endless ruins. Humanity clung to survival in fortified enclaves, their skies choked with ash from a century of wars and ecological collapse. Hope was a rare currency, traded in whispers among the desperate. But in the heart of Neon Spire, a sprawling city of scavenged tech and defiant souls, a spark was about to ignite, a rebellion that would shake the stars. Erin Voss was a ghost in the system. At 29, she was a courier, slipping through Neon Spire's undercity with a backpack full of black market tech and a heart full of scars. Her dark hair was cropped short, her hazel eyes sharp with the weight of loss. Her parents, her home, her trust in the world, all taken by the chaos of the past. Her only anchor was her younger brother Cal, a 17-year-old dreamer who could coax miracles from broken machines. They shared a tiny loft above a drone repair shop, their walls plastered with star charts and Cal sketches of a better world. That world seemed impossible when the Eclipse Tyrants arrived. They didn't come in ships or armies, but through veils, rips in the fabric of reality that bled darkness across the sky. The Tyrants were not creatures, but forces, their forms shifting like liquid obsidian, their presence draining color and warmth from the air. They didn't conquer, they erased. Cities dissolved into gray dust, their people reduced to hollow shells, their memories stolen. The survivors called it the Fade, and it was spreading fast. Erin and Cal were on a courier run when the first veil opened over Neon Spire. The sky split like torn skin, and a tyrant descended, its form a towering spiral of shadow that pulsed with a low, mournful hum. Screams filled the streets as buildings crumbled into ash. Erin grabbed Cal's hand, her heart hammering. "Stay with me," she yelled, dragging him toward an alley. They ducked into a crumbling warehouse, the air thick with the tyrant's oppressive weight. Cal clutched his battered tablet, his fingers trembling as he scanned for signals. "Erin, this isn't random," he whispered. "There's a pattern in the veils. They're searching for something." Erin peeked through a crack in the wall, watching the tyrant sweep through the city. Its tendrils touched a crowd of fleeing civilians, and they froze, their eyes turning milky white before they collapsed into dust. Her stomach twisted. "We can't stay here," she said. "What's your plan, kid?" Cal's eyes lit up, defiant despite the fear. "I've been tracking their signals. There's a hub in the old Stellaris array 60 miles east. It's offline, but if I can hack it, I might find out what they're after. Maybe even how to stop them." Erin wanted to argue. The array was in a wasteland crawling with scavengers and tyrant patrols, but Cal's hope was infectious. She nodded. "Then we move." Now, their journey was a crucible. They navigated shattered highways, dodging tyrant drones that hunted with eerie precision. Erin's courier skills kept them alive, her instincts guiding them through traps and ambushes. Along the way, they found allies. Soren, a former medic with a haunted past and a knack for patching wounds. Kalia, a hacker with a sharp tongue and a stolen plasma rifle. And Dax, a grizzled mechanic who'd lost his daughter to the Fade, but not his fight. Together, they were a jagged puzzle of grief and grit, united by a refusal to surrender. The Stellaris array was a relic of humanity's failed space age, its dishes rusted but intact. Inside, the air hummed with an unnatural chill, and Erin's skin prickled. Cal knelt by a console, his tablet linked to alien code that flickered like dying stars. "This is it," he said, voice tight. "The tyrants are pulling something through the veils, a weapon maybe. It's centered in the Sahara." Before Erin could respond, the ground shook. A tyrant materialized, its form coiling like smoke through the walls. Soren shouted, Kalia fired a rifle, and Dax hurled a wrench, but the shots and blows passed through the creature like air. Erin grabbed a power core from the console, its energy unstable, and tossed it at the tyrant. The explosion scattered its form, but it reformed, its hum rising to a scream. "Cal, hurry!" Erin yelled, shielding him as tendrils lashed out. Kalia tackled her out of the way, taking a hit that burned her arm. Soren dragged her back, his hands shaking as he applied a med gel. Cal's fingers flew across the tablet, sweat beading on his brow. "I'm in," he shouted. A holographic map flared to life, showing veil locations converging on a massive anomaly in the Sahara, a Nexus veil, larger than any other. "That's their anchor," Cal said, voice breaking. "If we destroy it, we might stop the fade." The tyrant lunged again, and Aaron ripped a conduit from the wall, sending a surge of electricity through the console. The creature shrieked, dissolving into sparks. The console fried, but Cal had the data. They stumbled out of the array, battered but alive, the map burning in Aaron's mind. The Sahara was their target, a chance to fight back. As they fled, Aaron pulled California close, her voice thick with emotion. "You did good, kid. You gave us a shot." Cal's eyes shone with tears, but he smiled. They weren't just survivors anymore. They were renegades, and the stars were watching. The Sahara was a graveyard of sand and steel, its dunes littered with the bones of old wars and forgotten tech. Aaron's crew trekked through the blistering heat, their stolen hover skimmer coughing under the strain. The holographic map from the Stellaris array guided them to the Nexus Veil, a pulsing wound in the sky that dwarfed the horizon. The Eclipse Tyrants' presence was stronger here, the air heavy with their mournful hum. Aaron's heart ached with every step, but Cal's determination kept her moving. The crew had grown tighter, their bond forged in shared loss. Soren's quiet strength held them together, his hands steady as he treated burns and cuts. Kalia's sarcasm masked her fear, but her hacks kept their tech running. Dax's gruff exterior hid a father's grief, his mechanical skills turning scraps into weapons. Cal, the youngest, was their fire. His belief in a future beyond the fade drove them all. Aaron, though, felt the weight of leadership, her fear of losing Cal gnawing at her like a wound. They reached the Nexus Veil at dusk, its violet-black glow casting eerie shadows. The sand beneath it was glass, fused by unnatural energy. Cal's tablet pinged, revealing a structure buried below, a tyrant stronghold, its walls pulsing like a living heart. "This is it," Cal said, voice trembling with excitement and dread. "The Nexus controls the veils. If we overload it, we could shut them all down." Aaron gripped his shoulder. "And if we fail?" Cal met her gaze, his eyes older than his years. "We won't." The stronghold was a maze of obsidian corridors, their surfaces shifting like liquid. The air was thick, each breath a struggle. Kalia hacked the entrance, her plasma rifle sparking as she burned through alien locks. Inside, tyrants patrolled, their forms gliding silently. Aaron's crew moved like shadows, their makeshift weapons, EMP grenades, plasma cutters, and Dax's cobbled-together shock maul, barely keeping the creatures at bay. The heart of the stronghold was a chamber dominated by a massive orb, its surface swirling with dark energy. Cal plugged in his tablet, his face pale but focused. "This is their power source," he said. "I can destabilize it, but it'll take time." Time they didn't have. A tyrant appeared, its form splitting into a dozen smaller shadows. Dax roared, swinging his maul, while Kalia fired bursts that lit the chamber. Soren dragged a wounded scavenger to safety, his voice cracking as he shouted for Aaron to cover them. Aaron stood by Cal, her courier knife flashing as she deflected a tendril. Pain seared her arm, but she didn't falter. "Aaron, I'm close," Cal yelled, his tablet sparking. The orb pulsed wildly, the chamber shaking. A tyrant lunged for him, and Aaron dove in front, taking the hit. Her vision blurred as the creature's touch burned through her jacket, stealing fragments of her memories, her parents' laughter, her childhood home. She screamed, clinging to Cal's face in her mind. "Stay with me." Cal sobbed, his hands shaking as he typed. Soren pulled Aaron back, his med gel stinging her wounds. Kalia and Dax fought off the tyrants, their weapons failing. The orb's hum became a screech, and Cal hit the final command. "It's done," he shouted. The chamber erupted in light, the orb fracturing. Tyrants dissolved, their screams echoing as the Nexus Veil collapsed above. The crew fled, the stronghold crumbling around them. They reached the skimmer just as the desert exploded, a shock wave of sand and energy burying the ruins. Aaron collapsed, her arm numb, her memories frayed. Cal knelt beside her, tears streaming down his face. "You're still here," he whispered. "You're still my sister." She squeezed his hand, her voice hoarse. "Always, kid." The Nexus was gone, but the war wasn't over. Cal's tablet showed a new signal, a tyrant origin point beyond Earth, in the void of space. The crew looked at each other, their faces etched with grief and resolve. They'd won a battle, but the real fight was coming. The collapse of the Nexus Veil in the Sahara sent shockwaves through Earth's surviving havens. From Neon Spire to the scattered enclaves of the shattered continents, humanity found its voice again. The Starborn Renegades, Aaron Voss, Cal Soren, Kalia, and Dax, became legends, their names chanted in the streets of rebuilt cities. But victory was a heavy crown. Kalia's arm bore scars from the Nexus battle, Dax's grief for his lost daughter deepened, and Aaron's memories were a tattered tapestry, her past slipping with every touch of the Eclipse Tyrants' void. Cal's fire, though, burned brighter than ever, his holopad tracing the Tyrants' signal to their cosmic stronghold, the Obsidian Crown, a crystalline fortress orbiting a black hole in the Carina Nebula. Humanity's defiance surged like a supernova. Scavengers turned engineers, forging the Starborn, a ship of salvaged Tyrant tech and human ingenuity. Its hull gleamed with patchwork steel, its rift drive a marvel of Cal's genius and Soren's precision. Kalia's hacks powered its systems, Dax's repairs kept it alive, and Aaron, though reluctant, became its heart, a leader whose voice carried the weight of hope. "We're not just fighting for Earth," she told the thousands who joined the crew, their faces lit by the glow of neon spires, rebuilt spires. "We're fighting for every soul we've lost, every dream we've dared to hold. This is our surge." The Starborn launched into the void, its rift drive tearing through space to reach the Carina Nebula. The Obsidian Crown loomed, a monolith of black crystal, its surface alive with shifting patterns, orbiting a black hole that warped light and time. Tyrants swarmed it, their liquid obsidian forms merging and splitting in a grotesque ballet. Cal's scans revealed a core within, a pulsating nexus of void energy that powered their dimension. "Destroy that," he said, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes, "and the tyrant's end. Forever." The battle began with a roar. The Starborn dove through the swarm, its plasma cannons blazing, its shields sparking under tyrant assaults. Soren's medbay was a chaos of wounded pilots, his hand steady as he stitched wounds under flickering lights. Kalia's fingers flew across consoles, countering tyrant interference that scrambled their systems. Dax's voice boomed over comms, directing repairs as hull breaches threatened to tear the ship apart. Aaron stood on the bridge, her heart pounding, Cal at her side. "We're not losing this," she said, her storm gray eyes fierce. "Not now." The crew's plan was audacious: infiltrate the Crown, overload its core, and escape before the black hole consumed them. Aaron led a strike team, Cal, Kalia, Dax, and a dozen volunteers, through a breach in the fortress's surface. The interior was a labyrinth of crystalline corridors, their walls pulsing like a living heart. The air was thick, each breath a struggle against the tyrant's oppressive Shadows moved in the dark, their tendrils lashing out with surgical precision. Aaron's knife, infused with scavenged tyrant energy, glowed as she slashed through them, her movements a dance of defiance. The team fought their way deeper, losing 2 volunteers to a tyrant ambush. Their screams echoed as the creature's touch hollowed them, leaving empty husks. Aaron's chest tightened, her memories of her parents' faces flickering like a dying hollow. "Stay sharp," she shouted, pulling Kalia back from a tendril's grasp. Kalia's face was pale, her scarred arm trembling as she fired her plasma rifle, its bursts lighting the dark. Dax's wrench became a weapon, smashing a shadow's form into sparks. Cal clutched his holopad, his eyes scanning for the core's signal. They reached the heart of the Crown, a vast chamber where the core hung like a black sun, its surface swirling with void energy that pulsed in time with a black hole outside. Shadows guarded it, their forms coalescing into a colossal entity, its tendrils weaving a cage around the core. Cal plugged his holopad into a crystalline console, his fingers shaking as alien code flooded the screen. "It's alive," he whispered. "The core, it's fighting me." Aaron stood guard, her knife flashing as shadows lunged. Keep going, Cal, she yelled, her voice raw. A tendril grazed her shoulder, stealing the memory of her childhood home, a fleeting image of a sunlit porch. She stumbled, pain searing her mind, but Dax's arm steadied her. "You're not done yet," he growled, his own face etched with loss. Outside, the Starborn was a beacon in the swarm. Soren's voice crackled over comms, strained but calm. "Shields at 20%. We're losing pilots, Aaron. You've got minutes." Kalia's hacks were faltering, the Tyrants' interference jamming their weapons. Dax's repairs couldn't keep up with the hull breaches. The black hole's gravity tugged at the ship, its event horizon a hungry maw. Inside the chamber, the colossal shadow split into a dozen smaller forms, each one targeting the team. Kalia's rifle jammed, and she cursed, switching to a scavenge blade. Dax roared, his wrench shattering a shadow, but another struck, its touch burning his arm. He collapsed, his breath ragged. "Keep fighting," he gasped, his eyes meeting Aaron's. She nodded, tears stinging as she slashed through another tendril. Cal's voice broke through the chaos. "I'm in." The core's destabilizing. The chamber shook, cracks forming in the crystalline walls. The shadows shrieked, their forms flickering as the core's energy spiraled. Aaron's team fought with everything they had, plasma bolts, EMP grenades, raw defiance. But the shadows were relentless, and the team was dwindling. A volunteer fell, her scream cut short as she turned to dust. Aaron's heart broke, but she pushed forward, shielding Cal. A tendril struck Aaron's chest, and pain exploded. Her memories of Cal's first laugh, his clumsy hugs, began to fade. She screamed, clinging to his image in her mind. "Cal, finish it," she yelled, her voice breaking. He looked at her, tears streaming down his face. "I can't lose you," he sobbed. "You won't," Aaron said, forcing a smile despite the void in her mind. "You're my family. End this." Cal nodded, his fingers flying across the hollow pad. The core's hum became scream, its energy fracturing. The shadows converged, their forms merging into a towering nightmare. Kalia tackled Aaron out of its path, taking a hit that burned her shoulder. She cried out, her blade clattering to the ground. Dax dragged himself up, hurling his last GRE. Loomed, its tendrils aiming for Cal. Aaron dove in front, the shadows touch searing her mind. Her memories of Neon Spire, of her parents, of everything but Cal vanished. She collapsed, her knife falling, but her eyes locked on Cal. "Do it," she whispered. Cal hit the final command, and the core erupted in blinding light. The shadows dissolved, their wails echoing as the crown began to collapse. The team fled, carrying their wounded through crumbling corridors. Dax limped, his arm useless. Kalia's shoulder bled, but she helped Soren drag a volunteer to safety. Aaron stumbled, her mind a haze, but Cal's arm around her kept her moving. The Starborn was a wreck, its hull glowing with heat. Soren's pilots pulled a desperate maneuver, slingshotting around the black hole to escape its pull. The crown exploded behind them, a supernova of light and void that erased the Tyrant's presence. The ship tore through the rift drive, emerging in Earth's orbit, battered but alive. Aaron woke in the med bay, her body aching, her memories fragments. Cal sat beside her, his face streaked with tears. "We did it," he whispered, his hand gripping hers. "The Tyrants are gone." She squeezed his hand, her voice weak but fierce. "You're still here. That's enough." The Starborn's crew had paid a heavy price. Dax survived, but his arm was gone. Kalia's shoulder would never fully heal. Half the volunteers didn't make it, their names etched into the ship's hull. But Earth was free. The skies cleared, the fade ended, and humanity surged forward, rebuilding with a fire that would never fade. Years later, Neon Spire stood as a beacon, its spires gleaming under a clear sky. Statues of the fallen, Dax's daughter, the volunteers, the countless heroes, lined its streets. Aaron and Cal stood on a rooftop, watching the stars. Her memories were gone, but Cal's smile filled the voids. "Think it's really over?" he asked. Aaron looked at the horizon, a faint unease lingering. "For now," she said, her voice soft but certain. "But if anything comes for us again, we'll surge." The Starborn Renegade story spread beyond Earth, a tale of loss, love, and triumph that echoed through the cosmos. It was a surge that would inspire generations, a pulse that would never die.